All right. I think since I'm the proponent, I'll lead with your permission, Overseer.
Yes, no problem.
All right. So my position is that trophy hunting is unethical. And I think that under every system of ethic, except for possibly anarchism or a definition of ethic that says something is right because I like it or because I want it, therefore it's right, which would be circular, but that's irrelevant to it. So under other systems of ethic, it would be unethical. And not only is it unethical, it's impractical. So under pragmatic arguments, it's also an unsound argument. And to begin, I'd like to build some consensus and establish a few things before we move on.
Okay.
So it is my understanding of trophy hunting that trophy hunting is the pursuit and killing or the attempt to kill an animal for the sole purpose of sport.
Yes, and a trophy.
Right. So the trophy would be the animal carcass, correct?
Yes. Or basically, yeah, because any part of it is a carcass at that point.
All right. So we've established trophy hunting. Are there any other limits that you want to put on the definition or on the bounds of the argument?
No, that's pretty sound.
Great. So before I move on, I think I need to know what system of ethic you're operating from.
I'm operating from the side of moral anti-realism or moral subjectivism. The fact that there is no right or wrong or true or false, basically. So this it's basically ethical if I say it's ethical, or if it pertains to my personal ethic beliefs. How can I say? For me, it's perfectly fine to hunt another animal, especially since that animal also has the right to hunt you down, if so given.
So are you considering the fact that animals do have rights?
Not so much as a right, but they're able to do whatever they want, kind of like everything else in nature.
So I take issue with your ethic as far as the bounds of this debate goes, because an ethic that says something is right because I like it or because it's possible is an impractical ethic. Because to prove you wrong on this point, I would have to prove to you that there is such a thing as right and wrong, which is beyond the bounds of our topic.
Okay.
So
no, why would it be impractical if my ethics are different from yours?
So the practicality argument would be beyond the ethical argument, which is why I came up with practical arguments, because I had a feeling you might try to hit me with the something is right because I can do it.
Okay. So if I find something as fun, I'm not allowed to ethically because it's not ethically right.
There can be ethically right things that are both ethically right and fun. However, your justification and the balancing of justifications might yield that this fun thing is actually unethical.
Okay, but now, what if nothing else is fun to me? What if that is the only way I can find joy in life, is to hunt an animal in a more exhilarating fashion?
I mean, to be candid, I think that would be a personal fault, but just because something is fun does not make it ethical. And even if it is the only thing that brings you joy, it's still unethical.
But those are pertaining to your ethical beliefs.
Again, so if we operate from a system of something is right because I like it, or something is right because I can do it, it leads to, I don't want to say circular argument, but it does go beyond the bounds of our argument here, because I would first have to convince you of a system of ethic that takes into account other people. I would have to establish that there is right and wrong.
So when you say pertaining to other people, are you saying if I think it's right to hunt an animal, are you trying to say that like I must also think it's right to hunt a human?
So if your only system of ethic is I like something, therefore it is ethical, whatever that something is would need to necessarily be ethical. So it could be hunting an animal, it could be hunting a human, it could be genocide, it could be stabbing your own eyes out with a spoon.
Okay.
There's no argumentation there. And so it does not lend well to this, which tells me that maybe we should move to practical arguments unless you would like to propose something else.
No, we can go to the next one. That's fine.
So why don't you tell me your justifications?
My justification is just that I find it to be exciting and fun, and to be able to like take that away from me, sort of, just only because of the fact that of your ethics, like that's where I'm coming from, basically.
So you find this one thing exhilarating and fun, therefore to take it away would be wrong.
Yes.
So I take issue with two portions of that. I think we already established that just because something is fun does not make it correct. It does not make it morally right.
Yeah, yep.
The second part of it, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that it makes a false dichotomy. It says, this is the only thing that I gain joy from, therefore it must be right. And actually, there's a third issue with that as well. How do I phrase this? It puts the onus on me to say that I am the sole actor in this universe and I am depriving you of something, when in reality, the choice is yours to do or to do not.
Okay. Nice.
So the question isn't, is it immoral for me to take away hunting? The question is, hunting in and of itself is immoral.
Okay. But if other animals hunt and other humans hunt, like how is that unethical for them to do that?
Especially, so first of all, animals don't have a system of ethic, right? Non-human animals don't have ethics. Unless you want to concede the fact that animals do have some kind of inherent right, and that inherent right lends itself to an ethic.
Yeah, we can do that.
So if animals have rights, those rights compete with yours.
In which way?
So just because you have competing rights doesn't mean there are equal rights?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So now the onus is on you to say that your right to hunt an animal for pleasure trumps their right to existence.
Okay. Yeah.
If we both agree to the fact that animals do have some sort of right to do something, therefore they must have some right to exist. Because to do, first you must exist.
Yes.
All right. So what is your argument to say that you personally, your joy that you get from killing something trumps another's right to existence?
Simply for the fact that their life isn't more significant than another animal's, or even another person for that matter, especially if the person like barely does anything.
Okay, so you know what? For the sake of argument, I will say that all beings' right to existence is the same.
Yeah.
In that case, following from that, it would mean that whatever minuscule amount of enjoyment I may get from taking someone's life is always justified. Because we all have an equal right to existence, and if you're proposing that it is right to kill something because you enjoy it, it follows that whatever minuscule amount, whatever modicum of joy I may gain from killing is justified because my life is worth the same as every single other life.
Yeah, 100%.
So your position is killing. If you gain joy from killing, it is morally right.
Yeah.
So if it is morally right, how has every population of humans come to the conclusion that we don't do that? We don't kill each other. If you do, you are punished.
Well, I'd say that's more of a society type thing.
But how does every single society reach that point?
Usually by someone persuading.
If not, that at some level we all agree that maybe killing each other for no reason is bad.
Yes, but they are persuaded to believe that. I mean, that's the only reason why most evil people got in power and were able to do evil or bad stuff ethically, as you would consider it evil and unethical. It's because they persuaded people to believe that way, to believe it's fine in order, like it's fine to do that.
I don't think I'm understanding the point you're trying to make.
Okay. Because you said like, you basically was like, if people think that it's like bad and they stop people from doing that, oh, I can't remember. Like like you said, how do people come up with a consensus right now to not allow people to kill other people, but people before killed other people and
Let's see.
legally.
So you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. One sec.
Couldn't really catch what you were saying there, but correct me if I'm wrong. You read my statement to be that because people think it's wrong, it must be wrong. When really my proposition was in the alternative. So many societies and so many cultures have come to the conclusion that killing is wrong.
Okay. But those are people in power. Those are like people who have the ability to stop other people from doing that, even if they want to do it. So it's not so much that everyone agreed on it, but it's so much as only the important people agreed on it. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Let me unplug this. Like, check. Yep. Cool. Oh, okay, cool. We'll just wait. Boop, boop.
All right, I'm back.
Nice.
Sorry, my internet went out.
No problem.
All right, so where were we? So you think that hunting for sport can be justified in that any killing is always justified if it brings the killer a modicum of joy?
Yes. And then we got to the point where I believe you had the argument of everyone came up with the agreement that killing is bad and that we don't kill.
That unjustified killing deserves punishment.
Yeah, okay, they're perfect. Yep. And then I sorry about that. I gave a counter saying, well, only the people that are important or the people that people deem important are the ones who said that. So to me, it's a small population in that respect.
So that every socialized group has considered that killing each other in mutually assured destruction is wrong happens only from a top-down understanding?
I'm not sure what a top-down understanding is.
That somebody who is the ultimate ruler decided that he does not want to kill someone.
Yeah, exactly. Or that they don't want that allowed in their community.
So there was an agreement among the people.
I wouldn't say agreement amongst the people because even in a democracy, there's like a higher vote count. Like if someone gets a higher vote count, then they win, even if it's by a small margin, unless of course it's like presidential.
So the majority of people agreed.
Yes, but just because a majority agrees doesn't make that correct.
But there is an agreement among the majority of people that unjustified killing deserves punishment.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that's true.
All right, so to dive into that conversation more, into that debate more, would remove us from the initial argument of trophy hunting is immoral.
Yes.
That would bring us into a discussion of contractarianism.
Okay.
So I think it's an absurd finding to say that all killing is justified, that any killing is justified anytime it brings the killer some modicum of joy.
Okay.
I mean, it may not be logically absurd if that's your ethic. I think that's a poor ethic to have, but I do think that it's practically absurd.
Okay. See, for me, it's more of a logic. It's not so much as practical. Like,
okay, but killing is a practical act.
yeah, but everything dies. Like,
everything dies, but not everything gets killed.
most things get killed. Kind of the food chain in life. Most things eat other things.
Eventually, possibly. But most things are herbivorous.
Yeah, but they're still eating a thing, like a living thing. Like, I mean, that's like saying that plants aren't living creatures themselves.
I'm sorry, do you trophy hunt plants?
Yes, in a sense.
Because our agreed upon definition was the killing of an animal for sport.
Yeah. We had the animal thing in there, so it's kind of bound to those restrictions.
Right. So, for the sake of this argument, then, the fact that most life is either based off of a scavenger diet, which would not be eating a living thing, or herbivorous, it doesn't follow that most things are killed. Everything dies, but most things are not killed.
I guess I have no counter to that.
All right. So moving on, do you have any other justifications for trophy hunting other than it makes you happy to kill something?
How about improvement of one's species?
So trophy hunting actually has the reverse effect on both the hunter and the hunted, at least
Well, it
in
depends
terms
on how
of
you hunt.
human psychology.
It depends on how you hunt, though. Like if you're hunting with a gun, it won't improve the human per se.
You're saying the human biology.
Yeah.
So explain your argument more that hunting improves human biology.
Yes.
And specifically trophy hunting improves human biology.
Yes. And I believe it improves our physicality, and especially for future generations to come. If we allow ourselves to stay in that environment and that kind of
the environment of
like hunting an animal, the environment and the sport in that.
So that by getting rid of sport hunting, it harms future generations' biological strength?
Yes.
How do you connect those things?
Because it has been shown throughout human history, being like 200,000 years or so, that the more we cater to ourselves in our environment, the more we degrade physically.
But wasn't your initial point of hunting for pleasure catering to yourself?
Yes.
So catering to yourself and engaging in acts purely for pleasure would be degrading to you, and under your argument, degrading to future generations.
Degrading? Explain. What do you mean?
I think I was using the terms that you were using, but perhaps I misheard.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I heard that. I was like, I don't remember saying that. But if I did, then yeah. But I don't.
So
I don't remember
engaging in something merely for pleasure and catering to oneself harms your biology.
Oh, that's what you're saying, or did you just say
no? Is that I'm checking to see if that was the argument you were making.
Oh no.
Okay, so your argument was that by not engaging in hunting purely for sport, we harm our biology.
Yes, physical biology to be specific, because I still believe that like our mental, because of the fact that humans catering to their environment, making it more comfortable, has been shown to degrade our physical prowess over time.
How does that reconcile with the fact that physical healing after trauma takes place entirely in a comfortable environment and that rest is a necessity for a healthy body?
Well, yes, resting after a fight might be a very necessary thing, or
resting at the end of the day. You spend a third of your life sleeping.
Yes, but we don't do the extreme physical activities that our ancestors used to, therefore not allowing us to have that kind of strength.
Longer lifespan, and somehow more people are healthier for longer, and somehow society seems to thrive.
We might be living longer, but that is not true that we are living healthier longer. We are actually in more pain throughout our life because of the fact that our lifespans are extended.
You have a citation for that?
1 second. It might take me a second to get it. Sorry about that.
Well, I think regardless, even if people live a sedentary life, there's nothing about sport hunting that necessitates that people engage in it in a way that's less than sedentary. And in fact, I think most sport hunting is far more sedentary than something like sustenance hunting would be. And it also creates a false dichotomy saying that the only way a person can exercise is through the pursuit of hand-to-hand combat with an animal, which is just plainly false.
I wouldn't say plainly false. I mean,
Have you been to a gym?
yes, but that only gets us so far. That's only acquiring for.
It also ignores any risk, assuming that now we have limited sport hunting even further to saying it's no longer a sedentary act, but it must be an active pursuit with a rudimentary weapon. It ignores any risks associated with that, like that the animal very well may kill you.
Yes, that's possible, but that's good in the sense of stopping overpopulation
of humans.
Yes.
So sport hunting is good because it's good for human population control.
Human population control, and also
how many sport hunters actually die from sport hunting?
I'm not actually sure. I've seen only a couple, not a lot though. But that's because of the way that we trophy hunt now. I personally don't like the way we do.
It does not work as a method of human population control.
Yes, but I don't like the way that we trophy hunt now. Like the way they're doing it now is basically with like guns and stuff, which is completely unfair on both sides.
So there are forms of trophy hunting that are unfair and unethical.
Yes. Like I also don't believe it's okay to cause an animal harm repeatedly for no reason, like at all, just for your entertainment. Like to just stab something over again just because you think it's great. Like that's,
you're saying that's unethical.
Yeah, in my views at least.
So how is that different from sport hunting? If we're not using a gun and we're only using rudimentary weapons, are you not stabbing an animal over and over again for your own joy?
Yes, but I retain it more in the sense.
But again, back to our original premises of all life has the same inherent value. The stabbing and killing of one animal because you're sport hunting, or so you say, should not be any different than the stabbing and killing of any other animal.
No, see, I was referring to when people like torture things for basically no reason at all.
So why do people torture?
Because they find joy in the act.
Just as your original argument was that sport hunting is okay because you find joy in the act.
Yes, but you have asked enough questions to know that that's not just one part of my ethical beliefs in that. Like you can't just look at one part of my ethical beliefs and stick onto that. So
let's do some stacking here. Sport hunting is wrong when it is purely for joy.
No, I think it's okay even if it's for joy. Sport hunting, at least. The
previous argument you made of stabbing an animal repeatedly to torture it because you find joy in it.
Yes.
How is that different from sport hunting?
Because with sport hunting, you're actually engaging in the act of fighting an animal rather than like tying it down or cutting its feet off and then just stabbing it repeatedly just to watch it hurt or be in pain.
But if we're not allowed to use guns under your preferred method,
yeah,
how do you propose we kill the animal if not by stabbing?
Using short range weapons, of course, you're going to stab them, but you're not going to hold them on to the floor or tie them up and repeatedly stab them, not letting them die, and just finding the joy in tying an animal up, stabbing it, and allowing to watch it be in pain. I find that to be wrong. If you're going to stab it, you might as well kill it instead of extending the suffering.
So it's wrong to sport hunt if you're not using the most effective means.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't go with most effective means because guns are more effective, but it makes a scale of unbalance in the fight.
So sport hunting is wrong when you gain pleasure from it insofar as you're doing your best to mitigate suffering.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yep.
Wouldn't the greatest mitigation of suffering be not killing the animal at all and still engaging in the pursuit?
Yes, but I still
So
believe
sport
that
hunting is wrong.
no, sport hunting is not wrong because I still believe that it helps us in the physicality aspect, especially when it comes to having children and having offspring.
How does killing an animal for sport make you have better genes?
Because of the fact that you went through that kind of environment.
Environmental stressors don't change genes. I mean, some environmental stressors do, but the amount that you exercise throughout your life does not change your hereditary nature.
I'm sorry, repeat that again. I apologize.
I can lift as much weights as I want. It's not going to change the genes that I pass on to my children.
Okay. So you think that every species has like a set destination that they're heading to? Like the way
No,
they
I'm
act around
saying
the
that you have
environment.
DNA and your DNA does not change based on how many reps you do.
Really? So you don't like so you won't believe that if a human was being raised like or a human was living in the cold and had a baby in the cold weather, you wouldn't believe that because of the fact that he went through that, his baby would therefore be better suited in that environment, more so than him at least.
On a level of DNA, no. On a cultural level, of course. If I am raised in the cold and I have a baby in Florida, it's the same genes as if I had the baby in Canada.
Okay.
It also negates the fact that you can exercise. You don't need to chase and kill an animal to exercise.
Yes, but exercise doesn't have a sense of necessity in it. When you're fighting an animal, there's a sense of a necessity to stay alive, an instinct to need to want
So
to stay
unless
alive.
you're actively pursuing an animal, you have no need to stay alive. You have no drive to stay alive.
No, you have no need for the physical aspect of your body. Like I believe that after a certain amount of generations of just doing what we do now, we will lose our physical aspect. Sure, we might gain mental abilities like being super smart and stuff, but I believe only having those at your disposal is bad or
So
not
we
the right
should
way to go
continue hunting
ethically.
animals for sport because it preserves physique.
Yes, and also relation
Yeah,
of
that doesn't
humans.
follow. You can preserve physique in any number of ways that have nothing to do with the pursuit and killing of an animal for enjoyment. It's not even just going to the gym. I mean, by the bounds of the debate, it's just I could do that if I was hunting for sustenance.
Yeah.
But that's not the bounds of the debate. We're saying killing an animal for sport.
Yeah. Yep.
So, sport killing really does not have anything to do with how much weight you can lift.
No, I don't believe it has to do that at all. No.
So, sport hunting does not help human biology,
No, it does.
but it's not necessary for human biology.
Um, I disagree with you on that.
Hunting and killing an animal for fun is necessary to maintain good health?
Yes.
How is that the case?
You're getting a lot of exercise when you fight an animal.
No. I'm not saying that it may be good for health. I'm saying it sounds to me like you're trying to say it's necessary to hunt and kill an animal for fun to have good health. That the only way to achieve good health is by killing animals for fun.
I wouldn't say so much to good health, but more so as if you want to keep humans healthy physically in the long run. Because to me, I believe that sports right now are going away.
In the hundreds of thousands of years that humans have lived, who was sport hunting for those first hundreds of thousands of years? Because it's my impression that they were hunting for sustenance, and that sport hunting is a modern invention.
Well, what's the difference between hunting for sustenance and hunting for sport?
One is for joy. One is to live, one is for joy.
So now you're assuming that the people hunting the animals for sustenance don't find joy in the act of hunting.
They very well may, but that's not trophy hunting.
Okay.
So let's see, we started with the proposition that trophy hunting is ethical because killing is always ethical if you enjoy it, which I think we abandoned that. And then we moved to trophy hunting is necessary to maintain good health, and I think we moved away from that. Anything else?
Think. No, that's it.
All right. Then I think I will wrap up with just a few more points.
Sounds like a plan.
Amenable? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So first of all, there are more non-consumptive uses of wildlife than there are consumptive uses, and more non-consumptive users, meaning there are more people who enjoy wildlife for their existence than there are people who enjoy taking that existence. It's 22 million non-consumptive users versus 13.7 million hunters. So not quite twice as many, but almost. Sport hunting actually harms the genetic diversity of a population and causes what we call inverse natural selection. So you're removing the strongest species, because that's the point of the trophies. You want to find the most charismatic and the strongest member of that population and take it out of the breeding pool. So we've witnessed this in white-tailed deer especially. We've noticed that the males have gotten smaller and have gotten fewer points, if you will, on their antlers. And so we see weaker versions of the mating population than previously. And like I said, it also removes genetic diversity within the population, leading to higher instances of inbreeding and genetic deformations is a problematic word, but genetic abnormalities that very likely or very possibly lead to further sterilization and further or fewer breeding members of the population. And it sets off this positive feedback loop. So it harms the trophy species at the population level, but it also hurts the individual especially through some of the means that you proposed, because there is a subjective terror that happens with being stalked and killed, especially because most trophy species, aside from the top trophic level predators like lions, are quite docile. I mean, if you ever approach a giraffe, they're not seen as valuable in the trophy hunting community because they're about as docile as cows. So there's no pursuit there. And so it's kind of strange to say that hunting is enjoyable in a trophy sense from the pursuit, considering some of the charismatic megafauna that people hunt are not actually very pursuable. Yeah, and it also hurts other species because so this might be a longer loop, but at least in the US, a lot of trophy hunting happens in canned hunting operations. So they buy members of the species, which are usually bred for hunting. And in this case, we're looking a lot at tigers, which used to be bred in roadside zoos and then sold off when they were no longer cute and cuddly and could bring in a lot of money for pictures petting a tiger or whatever. But we also see this with several other species. And so by introducing these species, we run the risk of having invasive species introduction. And you can see some of this happening in Florida currently with different reptile and fish species, but also the introduction of flying foxes, which is just wild to me. So not only are we harming the individual animal through subjective terror, we're also harming that individual's population by removing genetic diversity as well as creating this inverse natural selection. And we're harming other species as well by posing the risk of invasive species introduction through the use of canned hunting. And that's how I'll conclude.